Hi and welcome. Today we're talking about the NDIS, and to start off with this, I just want to say that just like a nation that chooses to ignore its own borders, a nation that considers borders to be a relic of history, that nation is on a path of decline. And similarly, a nation that has no regard for the stewardship of its finances, of its own treasury, that nation is also on a path of decline. And if you have a combination of both, disregard for your borders, plus financial mismanagement by your government, well, what do you get? You get what is today's NDIS in Australia. Now, this video, we're looking at something produced by two kids. They're not kids, they're in their 20s, but they're young blokes. Pete Zogoulas and Drew Pavlour, and they've done a great job kicking the hornet's nest that is fraud in the NDIS.
Don't think to come to St. Clair, or you're going to be in the trouble.
Can I ask you a
understand?
question?
No.
Of course. Is this a legitimate business?
Bro, get out.
Hey,
get
please,
out.
that's assault because this is my
That's
property.
not Stop the car.
You
I'm on-
understand? And
Hey,
that's
that's
not-
Hey. She just broke the $800 glasses.
How many times we come here?
You broke my
I
glasses.
don't care whatever.
So that's Pete and Drew getting their glasses smashed, trying to confront an NDIS scammer. So these two guys, more about this video, these two guys with no producers, no network station behind them, no TV station behind them, not much cash. They actually had to do a crowdfunding to pay their bills and also pay for some lawyers. And I'm very happy to say I helped them out in a small way early in the piece. And what they're doing is their bit to let us know what is going on under our very noses. If you haven't seen the full video, there's a link to it below. Please watch it. It's going to make your blood boil and spread the word. So firstly, in my little summary of their video, again, I'll restate it. It's an expose of the bastardry, the criminal negligence being committed by those people whose job it is to manage this nation's money, not to mention manage the health of people in need. Secondly, although the fraud in the NDIS is not new news, I personally have heard more than a few examples, both secondhand and firsthand, of scams, of indefensible, extraordinary gold plating of services, as well as deserving people being rejected from the scheme that's there, that's meant to be helping them. But the failing system that it is doesn't get the attention, doesn't get the traction that something as disastrous as it is should. Collectively, we're silent on the subject, and there's no way in the world that we should be. I ask myself why. Why are we silent? The simple, shallow answer is it because we're told and we tell each other that to notice fraud in the NDIS is somehow to question and hate on disabled people? Is that it? Is it some sort of pseudo-morality being used as a cover for massive fraud? These two guys, Pete and Drew, had the balls to actually look past that, and from what they show in the video, I reckon they've found the tip of an iceberg. Here's some more.
We're currently at Bankstown, where there's a bunch of NDISs in this one little suburb, little town here.
There's like literally 60 in like a 2-block radius. Also, the amazing thing is this map is only registered providers, and apparently registered providers are only 6% of the total. So just think of this, right? Like there are so many in this 5-block radius, and just think about like this is literally just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, so just in Lakemba alone, which is right next to Bankstown, there's 1,300 NDIS providers, and that means 1 in 13 people are currently running one. Think about how crazy that is.
1 in 13. 1 in 13 in that suburb. 1,300 providers in a suburb of 17,000 people. 1 in 13 people are a provider. I don't know how the system works, but how many people does that imply are patients in the system? The whole local economy is an NDIS scam. Jim Chalmers bangs on about how proud he is of our care economy. If this little microcosm example in Lakemba is what he's talking about, we are more than fucked, and that guy's more of a liar and schemer and scammer than, he's as bad as the people exposed in this video. All right, so what these guys did in their report is to get a sense of the shenanigans, the particulars of scams. They arranged for an NDIS-funded cleaning service to clean the apartment of a disabled person. It was to see how the system worked, how a simple scam works in practice. They set up a tiny apartment. It was proper tiny. The job should have taken about half an hour to do. And let's continue with their video after the job was completed and they're getting invoiced by the provider.
Holy crap, we've received the invoice.
No way.
We've received the invoice, I didn't tell you. We just received the invoice from Help in Support. The people that just did 25 minutes at that unit. $236.06 they charged.
That's 25 minutes.
For 25 minutes.
Does it say how many hours?
Let's check. View your bill online. We'll check right now. This will be crazy if they actually put, how many hours did they put? What? So they put 2 hours for the cleaning, $116.06. Then non-labor costs, $120. I did not agree to that at all.
Did they tell you about that?
No. And this is through the NDIS. They expect the NDIS to fund this.
So that invoice, grossly inflated, would have gone straight to the NDIS. It would have been rubber stamped and paid for. Money that should have gone to other needy people, should have gone to paying off Australia's extraordinary indebtedness, could have gone to homeless people. Anyway, so these two guys, guess what they did? Proper a current affair style. They challenged the provider, and after being challenged, guess what she did just before driving off?
Get her car, get her nice expensive car. Oh, nice and luxury.
Yellow Mercedes, beautiful.
Have you got that nice luxurious car she has? She's probably on the phone like, what these guys are doing
She's
this?
on the phone, she's speaking.
She saw us. I just got an email from her. She changed the invoice to $24.18, which is the actual amount, the factual amount for 25 minutes. So they took 90% of the bill away, which means they inflated my invoice by 10 times the amount.
They inflated Pete's invoice by 10 times the amount. The actual cost is $24. They charged 10 times that. It's obviously not a sophisticated scam, but at 10 times markup, it is very, very effective, very, very lucrative. I don't know, in isolation, this one invoice is small dollars, but extrapolate that across a $50 billion budget for the NDIS, and what is 90% of NDIS fraud is 90% of $50 billion fraud, is $45 billion fraud. I hope not. Maybe not, probably not. I guess my imagination cannot get there, but the fact that the question arises from this one example, that's damning in itself of the NDIS system. Anyway, of course, there's more. The second dodgy brothers that they found was a provider who got deregistered, got banned by the NDIS, and then what did they do? They changed their business name, they keep the same storefront, and keep on NDISing.
Okay, so Drew just sent me this, right?
M&F Disability Services was shut down by the government for fraud. If you go to their Facebook page, they have a number of phone numbers listed. If you go to this phone number and call them, they freely admit that they're now just operating under a new name.
They're using the same exact number from M&F Disability Services. You guys can see M&F Disability Services, registration status revoked, and they've also been lifetime banned.
Is this M&F Disability Services?
No, this is a Sunny Day Care.
Is it the same place?
For now, it is a Sunny Day Care.
Holy crap. They just confirmed the same number from M&F Disability Services that was banned now is running under Sunny Days Care.
So M&F, which is now Sunny Days, is the same ladies that we showed you at the start of Pete's video smashing his glasses. Here's some more of that.
Asking
Legitimate
questions?
NDIS business. We're just asking, is it a legitimate NDIS business?
Is that your business?
Well, is it legitimate? I just want to know.
No. Just answer the question. Is that your business?
Well, it is because
No,
it's a taxpayer funded
it's
service.
not.
This is
It's
taxpayer
not.
funded,
that's
so we
why
want to
we're
know.
You don't care. You're not the tax office. You're not NDIS. You're nothing.
We're investigators.
No.
We're investigators. My taxes paid towards you.
Ever I met in my life.
That's very disrespectful, actually.
Very.
These guys are funny. So old mate there is saying, you're not the tax office, you're not the NDIS, it's not your business. In other words, how dare you call out her crimes? As far as she's concerned, what she's doing is completely legit part of the game. Anyway, all I can say is nothing admits bad behaviour quite as much as faux moral outrage. If a provider gets paid on invoices that are 90% made up, or a banned provider continues operating under a new name, the easy conclusion is that preventative oversight is failing, is a complete joke. Next, we see, well, what about prosecutions? Does some authority catch up with these people after the fact, down the track? Take it away, Pete and Drew.
So I've heard out of the 7,000 tip-offs that have been received through the NDIS from participants, and there's only a certain amount of actual prosecutions that have happened. And do you know the amount?
16 prosecutions out of 7,000 tip-offs. 16. Not even 0.1% of cases reach the actual prosecution stage.
0.1%. 16 out of 7,000. Let's compare that stat to what they told us earlier. Earlier, Pete said they found 1,300 providers in a suburb of 17,000 people. That means the fraud is massive. Now we have 7,000 tip-offs, which means people are seeing it and reporting the scams that they see. But with 16 prosecutions, the policing effort is tiny. We have a massive fraud and we have minuscule policing. One of the guys, top guys at the NDIS, said this part out loud, talked about the scale of the fraud in this thing at a 2022 Senate hearing. Here's what he said.
The integrity chief of the NDIS told the Australian Senate that if every single case of fraud were to be prosecuted, the entire Australian legal system would collapse.
I can tell you now, there is not sufficient judiciary to process the cases we have in the pipeline in the country.
There are literally not enough judges to deal with the known cases of fraud.
That look on Pete's face kind of sums it up. Jesus H. Christ, are we a third world country? Are we 1990s Russia? Are oligarchs and petty criminals running the joint? We all believe in a country that we believe has rule of law, high trust, low corruption, all the hallmarks of a modern Western society. Somebody will say what the fella just said in Senate estimates hearings back in 2022, and nothing's been done. This is so fucked. Also back in 2022, 60 Minutes looked at it. This is what they had to say.
The further and further you dig, the further and further it becomes more disturbing. And, you know, the people watching this program today would be disgusted with some of the things we've seen.
What is your fear in respect of the real scale of NDIS rorting?
We think that it could be anywhere up to 15 to 20%.
Up to 15 to 20% of the entire scheme?
Could well be. That's right.
It's talking about many billions of dollars.
We're talking about many billions of dollars.
All right. So 4 years ago, this guy reckons up to 20%. Well, I suppose that's better than 90%, but we're talking about 20% of what now, 50 billion, $10 billion year in, year out. I'm gonna make a guess that given that these two guys have found so much fraud so easily, 20% is probably light on. Anyway, again, still in 2022, what did the government do with that information being presented to them back then? We're about to see, again on 60 Minutes, old mate Bill Shorten going into robot talking point mode and blaming what he calls opportunists who might be yanking out billions and billions of dollars.
Why is the scheme so open to rorting?
It shouldn't be.
It shouldn't
But
be.
I guess there's an age-old issue. When the government hands out money, there'll always be opportunists and crooks who'll try and siphon some of that off.
Bill Shorten is the minister responsible for the scheme. And just months into his portfolio, he too acknowledges fraud is out of control. Isn't Labor somewhat to blame? The NDIS is Labor's baby. You designed the scheme, and now you say it's very, very flawed.
It's not as if Labor have been the co-conveners of the NDIS over the last 9 years. As opposition spokesperson, I warned previous ministers, previous coalition ministers, you're not cracking down on fraud hard enough.
Yeah, duh. He takes the trick of the other side of the Uni Party stood over the system, so they're also to blame. Okay, absolutely true. But here is the thing. Shorten and his colleagues designed the system. And Shorten knows, he knows now, and he knew then, and he knew in 2022, that any system like this needs built-in protections from these so-called opportunists, but the system then and the system today looks like it was actually built for his opportunists to give them the ability to opportunize the fuck out of it. And that's what they did then, and that's what they're doing today. Here's some more shortened robot talking point nonsense.
It's easy to kick the last government. How will you reform and improve the system?
Well, first of all, you've got to admit there's a problem to deal with a problem. And I think there is a problem. I think there is a problem where spivs and charlatans, maybe even worse, serious organised crime, are interfering with taxpayer money, which is meant to go to the most vulnerable. So I think there are ways to reform the scheme. I think we've got to get the tax office talking to the disability agency, talking to police. At the end of the day, if there's criminal behaviour, we need the full resources of the police to focus on this.
Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. So he acknowledges it 4 years ago, and since then, fuck all has been done. Fast forward to today, Shorten has left politics, the NDIS has kept growing, fraud and all. It's gone from $30 billion to $46 billion, and it's not stopping. It makes you ask the question, why? Why does this continue, and why does no government stop it? First thing I do is ask myself, what is in it for the politicians and their bureaucrats? And to answer that very simple question, the starting point is always follow the money. Could it be a job creation program gone mad? Could it be an electorate bribery scam, a payoff for voting blocks? Could it be some sort of conspiracy, a way to get some of that cash recycled back as cash donated to the political parties that reside over the top of it? My bet is it's a little bit of all three. And what makes me think that is, to get a sense of the donation aspect and how grifters and politicians have a symbiotic relationship together. Do you remember Albo having dinner with this guy? There's Elbow up on the right, and with his pal next to him on his right is Chairman Dan, and the guy on Elbow's left is named Rupinder Brar. Rupinder is hosting Albo and Elbow's begging bowl at his personal home for dinner. And the trouble is, surprise, surprise, Rupinder runs a scam international college. Well, he did. His scam college is now deregistered, which may be why this picture leaked out. That being said, as in the NDIS, who knows if deregistration actually puts him out of business or not. Anyway, his Scam International College was one of the many selling dodgy courses with attached government-issued dodgy visas. And as in most of these cases, the visa is always the real value. The real product being sold is the visa, not the education. And Rupinder made a mint selling Australian visas to so-called students, in this case, mostly from his native India. But saying that out loud, like we've always been told, calling out fraud in education and visas in Australia has always been apparently racist, and the same moral condemnation applies to the NDIS as well, where we are told it's heartless, it's ableist, it's selfish to call out fraud in the NDIS. So concerned citizens are told to shut up, politicians are in on it, and the rot continues to grow and grow and grow. How much has it grown? From its launch in 2013, at a projected cost of $13 billion, designed to help 400,000 people, it was a massive program from the outset. It now covers 750,000 people at a cost of $46 billion, and it's still growing. The average cost per participant today is $66K, up from $32K originally. And note that $66,000 is an average. There are some people on the system receiving benefits costing hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars per year, up to $1 million per year. These folks, certainly, I'm not saying they're not in need. I'm saying their billing is a scam, the service is gold-plated, and this whole thing is unsustainable. So again, I'm not saying I'm against the NDIS. I'm not saying there's not clearly a need. Many deserving people are on it, or should be on it. A good friend of mine was on it, but need is not a reason to have a bad system. And this system was designed with intention and with incompetence to allow for charging for hour upon hour of services, sometimes all day, every day, all night, all week, all month, all year, always at high hourly rates. And then the plan manager takes those hours, juices it up, doubles the cost, triples the cost, and submits their invoice to the NDIS for rubber stamping and payment. And all that is by design, the legal side of the system. On the other side, at the illegal side of the system, and we see charging where there is no service provided, marked up invoices, people with made up disabilities, while those in genuine need don't even get accepted into the system, home renovations that are paid for at way over cost, vacations and cruises that are somehow paid for, and more. I could go on, you get the picture. Also, in case anybody tells you that these examples might be edge cases, that they can't be extrapolated across the system, listen to these stats. In 2025, across all 5 to 7-year-old kids in Australia, 1 in 10 of 5 to 7-year-old kids in Australia is in the NDIS system as autistic. 1 in 10. And break that down a touch further. If you look at 6-year-old boys, 1 in 6 6-year-old boys are in the NDIS system as autistic. 1 in 6 6-year-old boys. Those numbers are so staggering, and they can only mean one of two things. Firstly, we have a massive, unprecedented national health crisis. Or we have a massive, unprecedented national fraud crisis. There is no third option. There is only one of those two. Whichever one it is, either or is enough to spark national outrage and require a serious national response. So, to finish up, let me say, please watch the full video, sign their petition, which is also in the description below. This can't be let go on for another minute, let alone another 4 years. So please have a look. Thanks for watching.